Hey people! Ever since Tyrnhau in Slovakia ended, another huge discussion about the right of way has erupted and how it supposedly harms the Hema scene. Some people are excited about it, while others see it as a way to connect more with the Olympic fencers. But right of way is nothing new. It's simply the modern written down version of ideas that have been existed in European fencing for centuries. Many historical masters thought that the fighter who takes the initiative, controls the line, or creates a real threat first is the one who sets the pace of the fight. The opponent must defend or secure themselves before they can strike back. More and more I believe that most criticism of specific rule sets comes from a misunderstanding of how rules actually work and why they are written the way they are. Because in reality there are only 3 real rule sets, or rather I would call it 3 fencing philosophies to which every Hema fencer subscribe. Rules in fencing exist for only one reason, and the reason is how to deal with double hits. This question has divided the Hema community since its beginning. Some use extremely detailed rules and penalties to educate fencers and enforce structure. Others argue it's purely a matter of mindset, because with sharp swords people would fight differently, and so on and so forth. Regardless of where you stand, it always comes down to how we handle double hits and the lack of self-protection that cost them. As someone who judged tournaments myself, has written rule sets and has fenced under almost every possible rule set there is, I want to give you my summary. There are only 3 types of rule sets in existence: the priority rule set, the Afterblow rule set, and the first hit rule set. But those aren't just rule sets, they are philosophies about how to approach a fight. In the first hit rule set, the idea is simple: whoever hits first scores. This is known from Olympic fencing, but also from the early days of Hema. Almost every club and event used it because it's easy to implement. You don't need any experienced judges or a complex rule set, because the first strike that lands equals a point. Those of us who have been around for a while know why we don't like this system anymore. For everyone else, here's the short version. In the past, everything has been tried, from giving no points to giving both fighters a point, to introducing red cards or penalties for poor defense. Some events ignore double hits entirely, resulting in fights that still hurting my eyes to this day. To understand why this rule set is so fragile, we must accept 2 harsh realities. The first one: double hits are not always equally the fault of both fencers. And secondly, there is no such thing as a fully covered attack. The only kinda effective way to deal with those issues in the rule set is to actively punish fencers with penalties, what makes it quite inconsistent depending on the judges. These 2 hard realities pushed the Hema community to explore 2 additional philosophies. Rule sets based on the Afterblow requires both fencers to defend themselves at all times, even after landing a hit. The philosophy is based on the historical concept of Abziehen, or der Abzug, what explains getting away from your opponent in a safe manner. Reason for that is he does not instantly drop that to the ground. He can finish his strike or even deliver another one. In an Afterblow rule set, double hits are treated like normal hits and are usually resolved by weighted target areas or hit exchanges that cancel each other out or give reduced points because of the weighted target areas. The core idea is simple: the exchange ends only when I have left the opponent's reach or have made him unable to fight back. A double hit is not seen as a double hit, but simply as a bad attack or a bad withdrawal. Now we come to the black sheep of the Hema community, and yes, this includes right of way. Priority rule sets always divides between attacker and defender. You might know the historical concept of vor, nach and indes. This is the foundation of this philosophy. The way these rule sets handle double hits is simple. Whoever has established the threat first has the right to attack. The opponent is forced to defend first before counterattacking. Indes actions, however, are handled like defensive actions. This means if someone attempts an indes action, fails and gets hit, they made a mistake and do not score, even though they hit their opponent. Now that we know every ruleset can be categorized into one of these three philosophies, we can look at real-life examples to see how they apply. The first one is the right of way ruleset from Tyrnhau, which is part of the FEBUS ruleset from Slovakia. This is a great example of modern priority system. Right of way means that the referee decides who had the correct initiative when a double hit happens. So if both fencers hit at the same time, the point only goes to the fighter who had priority. In this system, an attack only has priority if it's done correctly. That means your arms straighten first, your blade clearly makes a threat to the target, and only then your feet start to move. If you move your feet first or your arm is still bent, the action is not an attack. It's just a preparation. And preparations do not have priority. That's the core idea. A real attack needs blade commitment, not just footwork. If you attack with proper blade threat, your opponent must parry or avoid it. The next example is the Helsinki Open ruleset, which is a classic Afterblow system. Many people also know it as the Scandinavian rules. These rules are written like this. Fights use what's called a fully weighted afterblow. That means both hits in an exchange are counted, and the difference between them decides how many points you get. So the judges look at the exchange, decides the highest point value for each fighter, and then subtract them. For example, if red scores 2 points and blue scores 3 points in the same exchange, blue gets 1 point. If red scores 3 points and blue does not hit at all, then red gets a full 3 points. The idea is simple. If you hit your opponent, but they hit you back, your score is reduced. But there is also a possibility to mix these two types of rulesets together, especially when it comes to weapons like Saber. The Polish ruleset is a good example. It's an afterblow system, but it also uses priority in specific situations. An example for that is the rule priority over riposte. If you parry an attack and give an immediate single tempo riposte, and both of you hit at the same time, your riposte wins and the opponent's hit is ignored. This is a good example of how different philosophies borrow ideas from each other and build them into their own system. With this video I want to show that even if some rulesets are poorly written, the philosophies behind them all have their place in Hema. Many rulesets borrow elements from other systems because those ideas support and strengthen their own approach. So the next time you criticize a ruleset, don't attack the philosophy behind it. Think about what could be improved so that the underlying ideas work better in practice. It also shows why, in my opinion, the Hema community benefits from having a variety of rulesets. Imagine if we ever get something like a world championship, maybe every weapon should be fought under all three concepts. Because at the end of the day, there's only one rule that stands above all three, like a titan. Hit without being hit. Anyone who truly understands this will never need to read a ruleset again.